We were close.
That time of life, losing parents.
Yeah, she was 86 and went peacefully, so. Okay. Thank you, if there's a TV audience out there, for your patience. Called to order the Open Space and Ecology meeting of January 15th, 2020. Let the roll call show that we have Ross Dykes, Glenn Feldman, Barbara Ebel, and Michelle Salmon. Absent are Carl, Megan, and Mary. So, and just for future, can we roll call? Done. Adoption of the agenda.
I'll move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oral communications. There's no one here from the public to communicate with us. So let's move on to the approval of the November minutes. Did everyone get a chance to read the note through the November minutes?
Yeah.
Is there a move to, are there any corrections?
No, yeah, first half of March.
Nope.
Correction.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes have been approved. And next is the 2020 work plan. Do you want to go over that?
Sure. So honestly, probably a lot of this will look pretty familiar. It's not all that different from our 2019 work plan. There are a few changes. So this is just kind of the first half of it. Doesn't all fit on one screen, at least not that you can all actually read. So in regard to implementation of the climate action plan, instead of develop and pass, we have implement a Brisbane building efficiency program. We have the lighting ordinance, solid waste. I added adopt disposable foodware ordinance aligned with the counties. My understanding is that they are taking that to their board of supervisors at the end of this month, and a second reading would be in February, presumably, barring any changes. So they would be looking for somebody, for cities that want to adopt to do that within the next 6 months. So I expect that would be something we will try to do in the early part of this year. The next two solid waste items are kind of continuing ongoing items, promoting opportunities to reuse, recycle, and compost, and reducing municipal waste with our sustainable purchasing guide. Now that we have a green team, I'm hoping we can that can help make some progress on that. Continue participation in BOSCA water savings programs, and then on road emissions and transportation, educating staff and the community on transit options, purchase of low emission electric or hybrid vehicles where applicable, and installation of EV charging infrastructure where possible. So those are all, you know, holdover kind of items in that category. And then, of course, we are looking forward to updating the climate action plan when we can do so alongside the Baylands specific plans. So hopefully we'll be starting on that this year, but the timing of that is a little bit out of our hands at this point. Any questions on this? Yeah.
Just how we haven't done much yet on the lighting ordinance based on the existing model light ordinance by the International Dark Sky Association.
Mm-hmm.
Although I definitely have the impression that we now have much more community support for that than we have in the past. So looking forward to us moving forward on that.
It does seem to be.
Where's the impression coming from?
The impression comes from chatter on residents of Brisbane.
Oh, good.
People are whining about it more.
Yeah, and about, you know, really overkill on certain security lights around town and porch lights and bright lights that are just absolutely blinding. And there was a discussion about, you know, how long can you leave your star on and should you or not? That's not the big issue. But yeah.
I wouldn't
Great.
try to bring up the star thing, but yeah, the porch lights definitely, and the security lights.
Yeah, the stars are minimal compared to some of the
Yeah.
blinding security and porch lights that have appeared recently. And
Super.
yeah, okay. And
Good to know.
next page.
I have a question.
Sure. On something on that.
Yes. I'm just wondering whether we've ever tried working with SamTrans or, tried to engage them on figuring out what would improve public transit options for Brisbane. There probably aren't a lot of ways to do it. I'm just curious.
Have you done the survey? They're currently doing the Reimagine SamTrans program, and they're surveying everyone in the county, and and some of the I did it myself, and some of the questions are, do you want more frequent service to more populated, busy stops, or do you want
Mm-hmm.
less frequent service spread out over more? They're trying to do that right now, so.
Yeah, I did the survey too.
Nothing that gets you to barter Caltrain.
Hmm?
There's nothing that gets you to barter Caltrain. except for
There's
Shuttle.
the shuttle, but it doesn't run in the middle of the day.
Or
night.
and it's questionable in the
Or
morning and the afternoon as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've participated in their studies. I've gone to the meetings at SamTrans when we were trying to get this bus, the students' bus. We lobbied SamTrans when they wanted to cut 292 service. I think they would be responsive, but I think we need a proposal. We need a clear concept of what would make transportation better for Brisbane before we can. And I don't really have a good idea.
Thank
To be
you,
honest.
Barbara. No, I think that's kind of what I was fishing for, is that, yeah, I did their survey too. Their survey went to, pretty much individuals, but we haven't had any kind of community conversation about it, and maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, something that would help me is good shuttle service, because I actually I'm taking a class at City College and I have to drive because the shuttle doesn't run in the middle of the day,
Right.
and the other day my son had to walk to Caltrain, leave 45 minutes early to walk to Caltrain because he needed to catch the 4:30 train, and the shuttle doesn't start running till 5.
Well, that's a scary walk.
Yeah,
I think the 292, isn't that pretty reasonable to walk over from
The
that
290
stop?
to get to Caltrain?
It goes
No,
up Bay
you
Shore,
can't-
and you walk by the Slage Lock. Can't you walk?
So they can't. Oh no, you can get off.
I mean, I guess they might have saved
could.
a little time by going up and walking back.
Yeah,
on
you
the
can walk along. You're
92,
right. You can
but-
walk behind Slade's Walk, and then you can walk down tunnel.
I mean, I
um,
think people are doing that.
Yeah,
You can.
too.
No, you're right. It's not terrible. The problem is that Caltrain stop doesn't have any of the express or limited trains.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the South San Francisco Caltrain stop is the one you want to go to if you were actually heading south.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh,
not all right.
they move all the express.
We've never
Yeah,
had.
the Bayshore stop has never had the express. There's just not.
Yeah.
enough
Oh,
rides
yes,
for
they
it.
did.
Well, not anytime recently.
Not anytime
Not since
recently.
Not in
not
my
in the 10 years
memory.
I've lived.
I used to
I don't
take it every
Caltrain
day.
that much, but
Yeah.
That was a
Um,
long time ago.
yeah.
So I wonder if maybe the Open Space Committee could sponsor some kind of community conversation to try to hammer out, this is what we think would be helpful,
Sure.
rather than doing it as individuals, because,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder if. Well, do we have a contact at SamTrans? Anyone that the city tends to talk to?
Well, that's
I
kind of
can
what I'm asking.
come up with someone.
Because I wonder if I would want to talk to them and say, hey, we were thinking about having a community forum. Is this something that you guys would find useful to attend? Is it even realistic
idea.
for us to come to you with proposals about
We-
what we'd like to see?
Well, I mean, might we just ask them through their Reimagine SamTrans process if they would want to come to one of our meetings, and we can try to get
Oh,
public
okay,
to
good.
come too?
And we do have a representative,
Yep.
citizen representative, Sonny. I don't remember his last name. Is-
Sonny's, I think, retired. I think
Oh.
it's Nancy Laxmana now.
Okay, then it's.
Yeah,
Nancy
well,
Lachman, I know.
I don't know if he's on the committee, but he lives in South San Francisco.
That was Sonny.
Yeah.
And Nancy, yeah, is a citizen
Yeah.
advisory committee member.
Oh, okay.
SamTrans, yeah.
Yeah, I know Sonny said he was going to retire, but I'm not sure if he did or not.
Yeah. And vegetation are we done with this page?
Yeah, I guess we haven't figured out anything to do. Maybe we need to think about it for a little while.
Sure.
But I think it would be great to actually talk to other people in Brisbane and maybe even South City and figure out, are there things we could ask for that make sense in view of budget limitations and, there are all the other constraints that they have.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I would use the train in the middle of the day, I think the shuttle in the middle of the day, according to commute.org, I'm the only person.
No, I would use it. In the
I would
local.
I use it, if I am heading to BART to go up in the city, it's usually late afternoon before commute time.
Yeah.
So I'd be one of the people using it too.
No, I would use it. I work off hours and
Yeah. Well, maybe we need to
So there's 3 of us.
find some way to demonstrate that need because they don't believe us.
Maybe we could redo our survey in a more directed way.
Targeted. Yeah.
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 Um,
I just think it would have been good to have asked these targeted questions those few months ago when we did the
Yeah.
survey. I was also asking, at a staff meeting how, when the shuttle got started, the commute.org shuttle, Peninsula Congestion Relief Alliance, when it was called that,
Mm-hmm.
how did they know that they would have enough ridership? Like, what kind of
Yeah, I was just about to ask that.
feelers did they put out? And everybody turned to me and said, Karen, you worked here the longest, don't you know? And I was like, wasn't.
Well,
Yeah.
and how did they determine the schedule? Because option B, if Caltrain can't do any, or Caltrans can't do anything, is try to extend the commute.org shuttle. But is that something?
Caltrans is the state.
I know, that's why I said, SamTrans, something trans. Is that something the city could help fund if we wanted to extend the commute.org shuttles past what the business part normally needs to extend it to the residents?
Hypothetically?
Yeah.
Or is there even a mechanism for that?
I think we'd probably have to demonstrate demand first, and that's why I think, it seems to me the first thing would be to try to find out in a more granular way what would people in Brisbane like.
So CAP subcommittee wants to kind of figure out how to.
Yeah, because that's a great way to get vehicles off the road. I mean, another option is we do a pilot program, we try it for a couple of months and see what happens. Figure out how much that would cost. You do a survey first, and if enough people say, sure, I'd use it, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Let's see if anyone's actually using the shuttle, and then try it.
I don't know if 2 months is enough to get.
Probably not, yeah.
Change their habits.
But some type of actual test.
So, vegetative management plan for city-owned Brisbane acres.
So I think the majority of these items are kind of our ongoing work items. Our annual vegetation management plan for the acres, reviewing that, plan for volunteer maintenance of Firth Canyon. That was actually something we talked about after planting at Firth Canyon. I'm not sure if where that actually stands. It might be worth investigating what the situation is and what's needed. We need to look at that as a volunteer, one of our volunteer days or something else. Habitat restoration, keep going our 3 to 4 habitat restoration days per year. Study and draft invasive species ordinance. That we have all of our education and outreach, Day in the Park, Bike to Work Day, Littman Science Fair, and our city communications channels and library display. I know library display is a kind of question about what will happen with the new library, so still a open question, I believe. And then policy recommendation to council regarding the updating of the 2001 open space plan, providing input on the design of Baylands open space, and general plan review of future proposed updates to the open space element upon direction from council. So any questions on those? I think you probably all recognize that these are kind of our standard ongoing or keep on the list until they come up kind of items.
I see 3 new items. The invasive species ordinance, we have taken stabs at that before, but we haven't really made really tangible progress on that one. Of course, the building energy efficiency, that's, I think, a new item. And our dark skies is something we've been wanting to tackle for years. So if we could actually tackle those 3 things this year, I would feel pretty good. I have reached out to Littman last week.
Oh.
My own, I remembered.
I
but-
actually had an update from Mary about that
Oh, okay. Cool.
I was
They
gonna
didn't
do
get
that.
back to me.
later.
All right, sure. Well, we'll just wait for that then.
Is there anything else that we should definitely be having on our 2020 work plan?
I mean, I had some things I've been wanting to do for years around green building. I don't know that, I don't kind of feel like we don't want to get into that tonight because I haven't like prepared something and I know we wanted to keep this meeting tight. So, yeah, I've got a list of, if we have time, I've got a list.
So let's entertain at the next meeting any additional items that members of the committee want to have on the work plan or members of the staff want to have on the work plan.
So could we add an item about transportation, at least having a community conversation about it?
Yes, we could. That would be it's still under road emissions and transportation, correct?
Right.
Once I
Yeah.
I
just-
another
Just
bullet
don't want
point
it to
in there.
get dropped. So I think we should discuss it further and try to figure out how to get community input on for SamTrans and Caltrain. And
Yeah.
So can we add that for review for next meeting? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything else that we know in advance that we want to, and Barbara, if you have your hot list, you might send it to Adrian in advance of next meeting too.
Sure.
Okay. Does that sound good? Yep. Okay. And that takes us to subcommittee reports. Is that where we're at?
No, we reordered.
Oh, wait. Excuse me. Staff updates. Oh, we were still in your thunder.
Your
All right.
suggestion. So,
No, that's a great suggestion.
all right. So we didn't have a December meeting. I think you probably all know this by now, but December 12th council meeting, we passed the building efficiency program and the REACH code. Yay. So we have the RFP for the implementation of the building efficiency program out now. The responses for that are due on January 24th. So I will be following up with Ross and Carl, who are the committee project liaisons. Am I? Oh, sorry. Following up with the 2 committee project liaisons to discuss setting up a meeting for reviewing those proposals. I have submitted the request for the local exemption to the state program to the CEC. That's expected to be approved based on my conversations with staff. You know, we should hear back within a couple of weeks, it sounds like, on that decision formally. And then today I presented to CCAG's RMCP Resource Management and Climate Protection Committee about our program. It was pretty well received. There weren't a lot of people there. There was a few council members from a few different cities, but it was very well received, and they seemed very impressed by our bold efforts. So they're interested to hear how it goes, and they did bring up one kind of note of caution that there are some proposals to perhaps have a split roll property tax ballot initiative, something on the ballot, and that combined with this program could potentially be a difficult prospect for some small businesses.
That split roll.
Pardon?
Is basically Prop 13 protects property tax increases for all properties, and so split roll is essentially the property tax protections would remain for residences, but
not for commercial property.
for
Not for
commercial
business.
properties. They would be reassessed. I don't know if that would be annually or what, but more frequently.
Most states do every 5 years, so that might be what they go to.
Right. I don't actually know anything about the details of what their proposal will be. That may or may not be on
Yeah.
the ballot, but there were some people who brought that up as, you know, if that happens and then you make businesses do upgrades, like that could be a pretty big whammy for small businesses. So
Yeah, we
something to
lose-
just kind of keep in the back of our minds as implementation rolls out to see if anything happens with that.
Well, our program isn't going to hit any really small businesses, right? So
Well,
Nothing
now
under
that-
10,000 square feet.
No, but even 10,000 square feet is not
okay.
I know.
not a very big building, really.
You'll
So
hit, you'll hit most of everything in Crocker Industrial Park.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the small units, really, like the individual business.
So,
won't be affected.
Anyway, may or may not be anything to that, but it was something I hadn't, you know, considered. I wasn't aware that that was maybe coming, so it's kind of a good.
I did, but I didn't really think about the confluence of the two and that it might cause some
Right.
undue hardship.
I think it's long overdue in the state
It
of
is.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that we should have fixed it 10 years ago.
We should have fixed it in 1980.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So a couple interesting other bits of information I got from being at that committee meeting today. The county energy and water strategy for 2025, which doesn't feel like very far from now, but they've been working on it for a little while. They're expecting to have a final draft of that available in the next couple of months. It sounds like something that will be sent to city council members for review and probably presented at a council meeting for approval. So we'll look out for that. Sounds like probably this spring or so. And then also the RICAP's Climate Action Plan template final draft is also supposed to be out in the next month or two. So I imagine that's something we'll probably see and maybe talk about at a CAP subcommittee meeting down the road. And lastly, one of the staff members from the County Office of Sustainability that was there happens to be the fellow who is doing the emissions inventories. So he noted that our inventories are almost complete. Sounds like they're still finishing up 2017, but he told me that our 2016 inventory showed a 17.5% reduction from 2005, and that the full impacts of PCE are actually not until 2017, which means we probably will see even bigger decreases in 2017. So that's something they've been saying for a while. They're almost ready. So I'm looking out for those, and that'll also be probably something we'll talk about in detail at a CAP subcommittee meeting once we actually have them in hand and can kind of dig into them.
Adrian, are those numbers on a per capita basis?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I am working with Teresa from Scavenger and Randy to schedule our annual CalRecycle reporting meetings. We also got an invitation from Teresa to table at their Earth Day event, which is going to be a week after ours on April 25th. I'm not so sure what we would necessarily have to provide at a table, so I was kind of inclined to maybe decline the offer, but I wanted to put that out to the committee members if anybody wants to have a table at Scavenger's Earth Day event. Be there for a few hours on a Saturday.
Oh, too late. I committed yesterday.
You did for
Mountain Watch is
Mountain
having
Watch.
a table. So if anyone wants to come sit at our table, you're welcome to. Because for once, it's not on the same day as
Yeah.
Earth Day. But seriously, if you guys want to combine forces, that's fine with us.
If we had any brochures, we could put them in.
Yeah.
Take them to your table.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. See if we have something to hand off to you. December planting day.
Oh, wait, can I ask a question? Before that event happens,
Uh-huh.
will we have a list of all the things that they're going to be doing at that event? Like, will they have a e-waste dump? Will they have that kind of thing? Because somebody was just asking me yesterday about when the next e-waste event is, or how to get rid of e-waste.
I can ask Teresa for details on that regarding kind of ongoing e-waste events. I would point them to the County Office of Sustainability because they have ones throughout the county, I believe at least on a quarterly basis, or maybe it's every other month basis, that, you know, they may not always be that close to us here, but anyone from the county can go to those events and drop off.
And do we publish that anywhere in our
I think
materials?
Generally,
Caroline.
yeah,
Yeah.
Caroline and or I often post them on our city Facebook page or whatnot. I know I've posted some of the like closer ones on our next door channel a few
Okay.
times. So
Do we have a open space and ecology page on our website?
we do.
Can we post it there on a regular kind of, is that weird?
I'm not inclined to do anything of that sort at this point in time because our website is getting a major overhaul right now. So I'm not really doing updates to our page until after
It's
that
done.
happens.
Okay.
But I think something we could think about.
Right.
Got to remember to post it and then take it down too. So it's not something we have generally done, but we could find out.
Okay.
Where was I? December planting day. We had a huge turnout. Higher than
35 people.
higher than
Woohoo!
expected.
Yeah.
A whole lot of high school students from Hillsdale High School, so that was great. We were done very quickly.
Yeah, I got to put one thing in the ground.
I think I did too. It's like I feel like I just shouldn't because they're gonna be done so fast. So, but yeah, it was really nice to see. It turned out to be a pretty nice day, and we pulled a few invasive scabiosa while we were trying to kill time while Bob got the sandwiches.
Okay.
I was begging for Sam. Could you please hurry up the order?
Yeah,
Because
lot of
we're having
people.
brunch instead of lunch.
Could you double the order and hurry up?
yeah. So, nice problem to have.
Yeah.
We are working on the budget and requesting funding for an urban forest management plan, as we talked about. So, looking for kind of a rough estimate for that to put into that. And
If I talked with Sean Sweeney, and he is interested in helping with that out, and not being on the committee again, but just helping with that if we want help, because that is what he did at it for San Francisco.
I don't know who that is, but
He
Okay.
used to sit on the Open Space and Ecology Committee for a while. He's a local resident who's retired now.
And he was an arborist with San Francisco, city arborist,
Not an arborist, urban forest management.
or urban forest
Yeah.
management.
He's the
pardon.
one who was the first person who truly recommended that we think about a new Christmas holiday tree festival. Festival. Okay.
noted. And last, well, I have it on my list, so I didn't forget, but was the update from Mary, who is not here because she had eye surgery today, unexpectedly, that she talked to someone at Littman Science about the Littman Science Fair. It is scheduled for February 3rd, and she said she would send me the email, which I did get right before this. So February 3rd is the Monday, is when they'll be doing the judging, and then the following Thursday, both at 6 p.m., will be the awards night when they can make a presentation. So it sounded like Mary would be in touch with the other members of the subcommittee about that as well. And that was all on my list.
Okay.
I've got a couple, the Crocker Trail Master Plan is due in early February. There's been a lot of interest, but there are a couple, Carl and Mary are on the subcommittee that'll review the, responses to the request for proposals and on the selection committee, I guess.
Okay.
Still plugging away on the green infrastructure project, found that, this is more, Barbara's probably the most interested, that construction costs have gone up, so we're making sure we have enough money. We're seeing if we need to bid it out so that we might have to take parts out and
And this is for the what?
the bioretention areas that are together with the Safe Pedestrian Route School project that we're got a grant to build.
Okay.
The costs have crept up.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I'm sure you have experience. Bob, are you gonna talk about weed management area, what we tried to do and didn't do? After I'm done? I'm almost done. And the festival tree, everyone's seen it planted, and the Lions Club, had said through staff to me and through the Park and Rec staff that they had contributed, I think, for the original tree, and they wanted to contribute, so they put some money in to purchase cost of the tree, and we're getting a plaque made so that they're recognized too. And you guys-
Awesome.
Very nice.
I just have one question. It seems a little bit close to the sidewalk. I thought
Yeah,
it was going to be closer to the other tree.
I thought I had that because it doesn't got a lot of growing room there.
Kind of like, is it too late to move it back?
I think it's too late to move it, but I
Yeah.
think it is
Yeah.
kind of too close to the
Yeah.
sidewalk. But and I would have put it up a little bit, like we were talking in the meeting here in OSEC, like at Filoli, they put the trees up. They actually put them on a small mound so that the root ball is a couple inches above the surrounding soil and
It is on a small mound.
small. So I think it
How-
would have made it slightly
How
lower.
close to the sidewalk is it?
Hmm?
I didn't actually measure it. How close to the sidewalk is the trunk?
Sidewalk's not far out of its drip line.
Until it grows.
Yeah. Did it? I mean,
at least
how did
6
they
feet?
determine that spot instead of where we had said?
They had to USA and they couldn't mark and they had rain and they planted it on Saturday and I wasn't one of the people that selected the spot.
Yeah.
So,
It happened.
Oh well, at least we have a new
Sure.
tree.
It's a beautiful tree.
planted
yeah.
though.
It'll be interesting.
Yes, it's planted and it really is a beautiful tree.
It is a
You
beautiful.
know what? If it gets too big, we'll just have to move the sidewalk.
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate solution.
And,
I can't believe it's finally planted.
Yeah.
right? I mean,
I want to
high
say, my work here
five
is
all
done, I'm
around.
leaving. No.
five, little mini success. And I'm working on the Guadalupe Channel erosion control permit. If you look at the agenda, the mitigated negative declaration is on the council to be adopted tomorrow.
Could you explain a little bit about that? I had a question about it that someone had asked me. They were all like, what is this?
Yeah, so originally, as a condition of approval or a part of the development agreement for the Northeast Ridge, they were supposed to widen the channel. And our back of envelope calculations indicated maybe we didn't need more capacity, but the channel east of Bayshore out to the lagoon definitely needs repair. The turns are scouring and that's increasing the sediment that goes out in the lagoon. So instead of just going ahead and widening, the developer paid for the storm drain master plan that we use for other stuff too, but they were able to calculate that we didn't need more capacity. So now they were just on the hook to do repairs and they paid for that plan. So this project is repairs. And what we used staff from the consultants have changed over time. So it kind of was in the developers' requirements to do, and then the city took on administration, and then we got a consultant that, I guess we'd had a consultant start it, and then we tried to engage in a new contract, and they sort of didn't like the terms of the contract, so we tried to push it back to the developer, and then the Northeast Ridge Development sold from Brookfield Davidson to Toll Brothers, and nothing happened on their end, so we picked it back up. It's given to me, so the consultant that we've had consistent staff through, even though it's been 20 years, they're recommending, it's called GeoWeb Fabric, so it's welded wire mesh. I believe I don't know if anyone's familiar. It's like Gabion mattresses, so you've got to place it on the slopes, fill it with rock, fill it with dirt, and plant on it. So you've got to remove the vegetation that's there, but it lets you remove some of the invasives that are there and plant back all native. So they need to remove all the vegetation, put this product in, backfill it, and replant it.
And this is occurring where exactly?
From east of Bayshore out to the Machinery Road Bridge, we call it. So
Okay, so
west
that
of
would
So along
Eagle
the train
Point.
tracks.
West of the Caltrain.
That would be the curve of the creek that runs by the firehouse and then makes the curve and goes out.
Yeah.
Okay, I know.
Kind of by the old Bayshore Tunnel Trail.
No,
No?
it's down,
Further
it's
south of
down, it's south of the firehouse.
It's kind of an S-turn. It turns south and then it turns east.
Oh, this thing. Okay, got
Yeah,
it. This
it's right,
thing.
it's
This
right
thing.
here, yeah.
Oh, that's really overgrown.
Well, it's not overgrown, there's trees
Filled
and
in.
stuff there. It's
Right.
Yeah, so
beautiful little area with a
trees
lot
are
of,
being replanted and marsh plants that are at water level and other.
Oh, yeah.
when does it start? When's that work?
They have to get permits. Then the next step after this environmental process will be permits from Army Corps and Fish and Wildlife. So we are thinking it'll have to happen in the fall. I'm still reviewing plans. They're at about 90%
Okay.
specs.
And then where are we gonna source native plants from for that particular area? Is that something that we should, not as a conflict of interest, but contract to get grown by Mountain Watch, or where are we gonna source these plants?
So the consultant is proposing that they'll do the work to enter into a contract with a nursery. You have to do that ahead of time so they can source the plants. But I can bring the numbers to the next meeting. It's like hundreds and hundreds of plants.
Okay. But I just wanna make sure that they use the right plants and the ones that are native to this area.
It would be really good if San Bruno Mountain Watch was at least consulted.
Well, we did let them look
Okay.
at the stuff in the beginning. I asked the consultant to, I tried to make it a requirement, and I wasn't effective in doing that. I wasn't able to do that, because, not that it's conflict of interest, but you have to let contractors or suppliers compete. You can't just pick and choose the ones you want.
True.
Oh, yeah, I
But
meant
we do-
reviewing the plant selection, not
Oh,
necessarily.
I did.
Okay, okay, good. That's,
Will they be taking trees out when they do this?
They'll be taking everything out
Oh,
and
wow.
replanting it. But it also includes, as part of the mitigation, that it's overseen by the biologist for 5 years, and plant establishment happens for 5 years. So anything that it's watered and anything that dies is replaced, and a biologist is assessing all of that. It's pretty
yeah, it's
robust.
kind of scary, but,
I know.
it's what we've been told is good for the creek long term, so I'm kind of trying to just hold my breath
Yeah.
and tell myself it'll all be okay. It's just gonna, be kind of an ugly healing process.
It's going to be very dramatic, and I definitely want to make sure that people know ahead of time,
Where does that,
because it's
Yeah,
gonna
we
be very
really do
impactful.
need to
is that a freshwater creek or is water washing in
have it's
just saltwater?
brackish.
Brackish?
Uh,
Is it being fed from somewhere?
yeah, Crocker Industrial Park from
And the
Guadalupe
Northeast
Creek.
Ridge.
So we do need to really work on that.
Oh, they
Make
just
sure that
feed into it. So there's always water coming down. the
Everyone's
canyon.
very clear about why,
Couple, yeah, you're right.
how, the long-term benefits, and
Do we want to kind of ad hoc meet about that? Is that
yes,
you two?
Sure. Yeah, I've been involved with this, so I'd be happy to continue to be involved.
Okay, I mean, in my ideal world, I would have a rendering of what it's gonna look like ultimately, but I don't have that, and it's gonna cost to get it, but we can talk about, I'd like to talk to you guys about
Is it
whether you
pretty
think that's
those?
really important.
Yeah. it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, the artist pictures are always like fairy tales anyway.
yeah.
I don't
Yes,
care.
maybe not.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's
Can we,
let's go on and let's do that after instead of on the
All along here. 'Cause they
okay.
rip all this out. This-
Thank you, Karen, for bringing that up and bringing that forward.
They don't do something.
Okay, so the weed management area, we had that all ready to go to city council, and then I haven't really prepared agenda reports. And Karen noticed that the MOU for the weed management area expires in June of 2020. So then we consulted with the WMA, and the city council would have to re-sign again in June. So the WMA is actually they're going over the MOU at their next meeting, and they're going to be renewing their MOU. So they thought it was our best interest to wait until they have a new MOU that's 5 years out, and then we'll go to council as soon as the weed management area renews their MOU, so they know that we're ready to sign on. We're just going to wait for the renewal, so that way we don't go back to council in 6 months.
Okay.
Okay.
And are you going to the next weed management meeting?
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah, next week. Okay, good.
Yeah, and that's on the agenda. And then I talked to Nancy, and she was like, "Oh yeah, don't do it now. Let us just fix this." And
Okay. All right.
that's all I have.
Anything else? That's it for staff reports. Okay. And, chair and committee matters.
Yeah.
Subcommittees.
Open space, anything?
And I apologize, this is just supposed to say subcommittee reports. I did not update the slide title from last time, so.
Okay. So we haven't set a time yet for our subcommittee meeting for the open space. So we really do need to do that. I'd really like to do that soon.
I'm gonna be out for 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, but we can set something up for after that.
Okay, let's do that. Let's set that 2 weeks. When are you leaving?
Sunday.
Okay, so 2 weeks after that would be really good. Yeah, like early February, maybe even
Your availability, I think theirs is only evenings too, so yours
evenings.
general evenings.
Climate action plan update.
We had a good meeting with Beth Grossman. We talked about a lot of sort of goals, shapes, and ideas for her, whatchamacallit, the Al Gore thing, the
Climate reality.
word, climate reality workshops, yes. And I think everybody was very open-ended and willing to do whatever, and I'm not sure we completely came up with a plan because everybody was just like, did we come up with it? Like, I feel like we didn't have a solid plan at the end there, did we?
I felt like we had a reasonably solid plan.
Okay, good.
So we determined that actually Wednesday was probably the
Oh, we're gonna do it
That's
during an
okay.
OSEC meeting. We're gonna have food. We've got it
March
on the
18th. March 18th.
March 18th. That's right. And so the staff is gonna start promoting that.
So I was supposed to, which I did, put together a Google document to kind of start working
Oh,
on
yes.
some of the language and details of the agenda.
I
And
need to
so I
track
don't
that.
think I have seen anybody comment or add any suggestions to that. But Bob is agreed to make us a poster for the event once we have kind of some of the language nailed down. So, and
Yeah.
I know we wanted to try to start promoting that at the Artists' Evening of Sharing on February 8th, if not before. So I think please take a look at that sooner than later. Add some comments or suggestions at least to the kind of title, language, and any content related to being able to get together the flyer in the next couple of weeks so we can start promoting that and fill in the details of the agenda after that.
Okay.
Great. I'll work on that. I'll put a reminder in my calendar. You guys will be so proud of me.
Do you feel like we should schedule another meeting for the near future on that?
What do you think?
Or
Lynn?
is email and
I would say let's try email for now, but one thing that just occurred to me is maybe one of the things we could talk about at that event is transportation.
Yeah, yeah.
That would give us an agenda kind of, to see what people.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I took away was that it was gonna format a little bit like what we did with staff, where it was kind of a brief overview of the climate change situation and the state and the state of it and the problem, and then a little more localized what our climate action plan is and just some highlights. And then what we did at the staff training was broke out into discussion groups about things that people had concerns about and kind of reported back. And what came out of it, one of the things that came out of it was green teams that wanted to work more on specific things that were of interest to them. So in that model, if transportation were one, we might find people that wanted to
Yeah.
be activists around whatever action we were trying to do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Events. Actually, Bob.
Yeah, we are, we've all been trying to see when Adrian, Jeff, and I can meet, and then we are gonna make a doodle poll with you and Ariel and the commissioners, the Parks and Rec commissioners. So that'll be going out by early next week to see a time frame that works for
What-
everyone to plan the rest of our Habitat Days. So,
Yeah.
so we're
So this is, you're going to involve the Park and Rec commissioners now, and not just the Park and Rec department?
or the
Yeah.
gals who came last year, Bonnie, or the people who always come.
Yeah, they
The
haven't.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They were there last year.
past couple years.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or at the
Yeah.
time, they weren't too.
Yeah, they just haven't been at the events at all.
No, but Jeff,
Jeff,
that's an important. They like to weigh in. So since we have Earth Day scheduled, we just want to get it done. Ariel is probably the most important, since he has the permit for any of the work on the mountain.
yes.
But so I am going to. He was on a road trip for a bit. So anyway, now that we're getting caught up, I'll
Yeah.
organize that, and we'll try and get everybody in the same room at the same time to pick the summer events.
Okay. Yeah, we briefly talked about it last night, so
Yeah.
good. And then, Day in the Park. Should we think of something new this year for Day in the Park? So just put your hats on and think of some new, exciting thing we can do. And we'll discuss it again next month. But be
Has any-
thinking about it.
Has anybody been keeping track of our old ideas? Because we've had a couple of ideas in the past that we weren't able to, they were just superfluous for whatever reason. And is there any?
I mean, I would have notes from the meetings since I've been here. I don't know,
Yeah.
how easy it would necessarily to be to dig up anything before that, and unless any of you have.
Solar cooking contest.
I'd
Solar
be down with that.
There we go.
I said that and everybody said that and then no one liked it. And I'm never here that weekend because I go to Chicago for the marathon. But I'm throwing it back out there. A solar cooking contest.
I'm hot. I'd do it.
And I do recall having a conversation about vegan cook-off something
Yeah.
at some point in time. So I don't know if that was something we were thinking about doing.
And we wanted, yeah, that was on the list. And we
With
talked
the-
about the pinata again. And
Yep.
there's a couple of things. We've got
We
great ideas. We just need to.
We talked about getting the schools more involved, having kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do costumes or, you know, some kind of thing that kids prepare for in advance, and then maybe giving a prize for that. And I still like that idea, but it really requires a lot of advance work. We'd have to start on it this spring instead of in the fall.
Yeah.
Gee, Michelle, that light bulb, that LED bulb,
I just thought of something really cool with maybe an art or craft contest using reusing recycling materials, kind of like what Ecology does with their artist in residence program. Only, have like a whole setup where we actually, have adults and kids participate.
that might work.
I mean, it would be kind of cool. I mean, just as an example, I bought a pair of earrings in Hawaii that were made out of an aluminum can, that were really awesome. And so something like that.
So are you thinking about something that people would do that day?
No,
They would create it
No.
on the spot,
No.
or?
I'm thinking about something where they would enter a contest or art show in advance, and we would have a display of the art and crafts that people put forth. Making something like maybe making a braided doormat out of plastic bags. Okay, braiding them together. Like how they used to make braided rugs out of rags.
Or a braided rug made out of rag.
Or a braided rug made out of, rags that you were gonna recycle or couldn't recycle. Or just, making lanterns out of cans so that you have
I think
like
that's
that.
a good idea,
I think it'd be
actually.
kind of really cool, and if we put enough energy into it up front, that people might really participate and then come and, walk around and look, and we could put some panels up to display things and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, I'm not talking about that it's gonna happen at our table. I'm gonna talk about that it's gonna happen out
Mm-hmm.
in all that luscious green space we don't get to use much anymore.
We need a bunch of easels or something for.
Yeah,
for people
easels
to
or
put their.
those, kind of, you know, foldy panels or whatever.
I love the idea, actually. But we'd have to start publicizing it like
Now.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, either of those ideas I'm down with, and I'm sure there's a half a dozen I'm down with too. I'm not on that committee, or subcommittee, so
Doesn't matter. You can
Okay.
still absolutely have input.
yeah, I'm having input. I'm just saying, I think the final choice should come to the subcommittee members because they're the ones who are going to have to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Onward and upward.
Mhm.
Write
It's a
that
good
down.
idea. I like it.
Recycled art contest. Then the next one is the education and outreach.
We have not met. We need to.
Okay. Invasive species ordinance,
We haven't met.
but we
Is
need to.
Is it something we're prepared to start working on now that kind of the holidays and
I think so.
building energy is behind us? That was kind of all consuming for a lot of last year. Okay.
I guess I would say, frankly, I expect that once we start to get RFPs, it will continue to be all consuming for me.
Okay.
But maybe perhaps less so for committee members. So just
And Bob, you did some work on the invasive species
Mention.
ordinance, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what led me to the WMA, and I kind of hit a brick wall when they all kind of said, "Oh, good luck. Let us know how it goes." So, they were like, "What about outreach and education?" So, I've got it in my, when I go to the meetings, but I don't think any of them are ready to lead the charge, countywide because of
Yeah.
the property rights and.
So
But
we can lead the charge.
yeah,
It's hard
I-
enough.
keep my ears open if I hear of anything.
And didn't
Helpful.
some other city have some ordinance we were going to try to, from Florida, try to,
Yeah, and I haven't looked at it in a while, and I did put together a folder somewhere that has examples I found. There were some in Ohio and maybe Pennsylvania and Florida.
yeah.
So I haven't.
I remember
looked at
reading
that.
those
So
a while ago.
let's see if we can't work something up in the next month or two. Get together and do it. Start working on it.
Could you recirculate those documents, Bob, as a way for us to kind of get back in that headspace?
Sure,
That
I'll
possible?
make a note of that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Notes.
Can I rejoin that subcommittee?
Yeah. Yeah. Put Glenn on that subcommittee. She's been carrying that torch for a long time. I just remember you going out collecting all of them for the display at Day in the Park. Okay, let's go on to dark skies ordinance.
Hey, Ross. Yep. You gonna reply to my last email? Nope.
Okay, so where are we at with that? I'm gonna.
I've been trying to schedule something.
I thought it was scheduled
I responded Tuesday, 4 p.m.
Tuesday, 4 to 5 p.m. at Madhouse.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm the one that didn't get that one. Okay. Yeah, because we had kind of a narrow window because Ross turns into a pumpkin at 5 and Carl becomes a non-pumpkin at 4. So, okay, we will do that.
I mean, there's always a chance I can get my wife to pick Jimmy, or I can pick him early, but then we have him there.
Yeah. Well, we'll just see how far we get with an hour. You know.
Maybe Carl's little girl can take care of Jimmy while you guys meet. Entertain each other. Start them young. Okay. Wow. Festival tree replacement options. I think that can just come right off the list now. Yay! Littman Science Fair. We kind of discussed that already. You guys are going to do the judging this year?
Yep. I was off that for a while because my son was a student there.
Yeah. And that'll be great. And Carl's joining you on that. So let's start on the next PCA grant, you guys.
Well, it's like a,
That's okay. We might get it done this time. But
Yeah.
I don't think we should give up on that. I think we need to stay on it. I'm disappointed that we didn't qualify, and I'd like details from them as to exactly why, so that we can improve it, because it's a long-range goal of ours to get that done.
I read the email.
But I might press them for more detail even. Yeah. And who did get it and why.
That should be on the website at some point.
Okay. So that would be good to know. And then 280 South Hill funds, that's Mary and Carl, so I guess we're not going to talk about that unless you know something.
Other than the Crocker Trail Master Plan.
Okay. And we had a very good subcommittee meeting on tree issues that Karen didn't get to attend. And so we had more of a brainstorming session. And one of the things we discussed was setting up a sort of a tree help fund. And so that we have some vehicles for being able to help people maintain their trees and remove ivy from trees on private property that are historical, that we want to protect. Adrian, you took notes, so what else am I missing on that?
I didn't bring my notebook with me. So
Okay. Well,
sorry about that.
I'd love for
I
us-
filled Karen in, showed her all of my notes the next day when she was back. So.
She hasn't pulled out all of her hair yet. I didn't even have a yellow Sharpie, Karen, I swear. But
I know I talked about wanting to revisit the tree removal ordinance because we made a couple of serious omissions.
yeah, and I
On
think
that.
we need to do that, and I think the council would be open to that.
I think they said even that one council meeting that I was at that they would consider it.
So
That was the impression I got. I don't know.
I'd love for us to have another subcommittee meeting so we can really outline the next steps of what we're going to do on those couple of fronts with
Well,
Karen's
with regard
input.
to reopening the ordinance, can you guys do a first draft of a letter saying what you want?
Okay. I mean, I can do my kind of my pet things, and then maybe.
Get together with me and I'll do my pet things. And Mary, or
Okay.
that'd be great. Okay. But we should think about scheduling another meeting for when you're back, so that we can get you all booked up for the next.
Every night?
And then next is liaison for benchmarking ordinance, Ross and Carl.
Yep. Not sure if we have anything to report that we didn't talk about in November.
Okay.
Nope, just that I'll send you guys some dates to schedule a meeting to review RFPs for. I think I gave myself maybe 3 weeks between their deadline and when we need to have somebody selected and a packet ready to go to council for approval of a contract. So
What is their deadline?
their deadline is January 24th
Oh.
for proposals. So I'll probably want to give you guys maybe a week to review whatever we get and then have a meeting. Hopefully we'll be able to decide quickly who's getting it, or if we need to set up interviews with somebody, with any of the candidates. Presumably, if we were interviewing, it would be because there were at least 2 that we wanted to talk to and decide between.
Right.
We only got 4 proposals last time. I put a page limit on the appendices this time. Missed that one last time. We ended up with some really long ones, if you recall. So hopefully we'll avoid that, and there'll be. I am doubtful that we will get. I think we'll probably get a similar number of applications this time.
Well, so that's the end of next week then, right?
Yeah, for them to submit the proposals.
Okay.
The question deadline was actually today, and I got 0 questions.
Okay,
So
good. And so,
hopefully that's a good sign and not a bad.
so we just need to pick something after the 24th then to review.
Yeah, but with time to actually read through the proposals before we meet. Ideally.
Got it.
Okay. Callan, oh, beautification, I guess we're gonna skip, Megan's not here.
Yeah, I think so.
Everything's looking beautiful now that it's raining.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should I do that now? Sorry,
summer's fire.
I'm kind of meant to bring this up during staff updates, and I didn't have it on my list, so I forgot. I thought you had all seen an email from Meg, because she replied all to our meeting notice, and I didn't realize that when you reply all to the Open Space and Ecology
You can't.
listserv, it doesn't actually go all
Yeah.
back to you. That was news to me.
Only lets you
So,
do it.
so Meg sent an email saying, and I'm just going to read it verbatim so that you get the full flavor of what she said. Hi everyone. With the changes in my career and the additional work I have taken on, I will not be able to attend the meeting again. Due to the holidays and my career in the hospitality industry, I have also missed 2 of the beautification meetings. I'm concerned that I am not able to give what I am required to give and the amount of time that I would like to give and fully participate. I was hoping to complete my commitment and would like to know how the committee feels. Truthfully, my February, March, and April are really slow, but when events come up, I need to work them. I know you all understand. Cheers, Meg. So, I think I would have
Discussion.
So I know we've got at least 3 applicants for the Open Space and Ecology Committee. Do you know when City Council is going to be reviewing those applications?
Well,
And when do the terms naturally roll over? I can't remember. I'm very sorry.
a month, I'm not
June.
sure, but I
June?
think,
Or May, it says May on the calendar
May,
of when
okay.
we, swear in new,
Yeah.
that's new chair and vice chair.
yeah.
Okay.
But that usually happens right after we have
Well, yeah.
new member,
So is
I mean,
that
and there's
April
probably
then?
a month on.
May, April, something like that.
There's probably a month on the website, but the city clerk had been trying to get all of the committees and commissions on the same schedule so they could do them
Mhm.
together. So they were directed by the council to have these open in January. They now do have the draft schedule to interview everyone, and they want to at least have people that already served come back and have a quick
Mm-hmm.
chat, even though the council should know you,
Mm.
all on January 30th, and then in February they would like swear in whatever members.
So do we have 3 people who applied, or 1 person in addition to both of you?
1 person in addition to both of us, so 3 people total.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so if Meg, I would hate to lose Meg.
Me too,
Um,
but I also don't want to get in the way of her having a prosperous and happy life, so.
yeah,
Right, or her feeling she's struggling to keep up or.
yeah.
not
Because
doing
we
a good
really,
job.
you know, if you're gonna serve, we need to make a commitment to serve. Be here at the meetings, be on time, you know, and try to do everything that we do. And it's not easy. I mean, sometimes I'm just feeling like, whoa.
Mhm.
So, but I'd hate to lose Meg, but at the same time, if we're gonna have an opening, we should fill it with someone who wants to be here and come to the meetings and be excited to be here.
Yeah.
And I would have I would not want to lose either one of you because you both are tremendously valuable and do the lion's share, a lot of the work on the really detailed stuff on climate action plan. But then it's also been exciting to have new people on the committee like Carl and Ross and Mary, and you know, and so it's good to always have new blood, but really it's a matter of like interest. So I don't know what to say because I love Megan. She's done so many good things with the committee. So
Yeah. I'm not trying to like see ya, don't let the door hit you in the ass.
no,
But if she really feels like she needs to go, this might be an allocate time or less
Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah, it already lines up.
That's
Yeah.
well put.
Yeah.
We don't want, we will miss you, but if you feel you have to go, Megan, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think if
Your microphone's not on.
oh, I thought I turned it on and off. If she were leaning towards making a decision and we're looking for the right time, if she did it now, we wouldn't have an empty seat for.
Well, I would
Number of
expect her to
months.
stay on until we have her replaced.
Right. But if
Because
she,
this is her slower time and
Yeah.
there's still things that
yeah, that's true.
to contribute.
We've also limped along with 6 people before, so,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's where we're at, I guess. No resolution, but we've expressed in various opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
As for that subcommittee,
We should reassign someone to the subcommittee that's able to attend the meetings or the what's happening there.
Right. When are the meetings?
they're
Can we
meeting-
wait until we've got new members, though? I mean, would that be how often do they meet? I mean, would 2 or 3 months be a real problem?
I don't know. It's ad hoc, and they meet in the evening shortly after. Sorry, it's like 5:30 or 6,
But how frequently are they meeting? Are they meeting once a month?
2 or 3 times. So it's probably been about once a month, but it's
Okay.
ad hoc, so it's not ongoing.
Okay, so if they meet at what time?
It's 5:30 or 6.
So I'm willing to attend the meetings until we have it resolved if Meg cannot.
Yeah, but I think they want consistency, not somebody comes, somebody else comes.
Well, we don't
You would assign.
we don't know how Mary feels about if she wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And
And I don't know that they have another one scheduled right
okay.
now, but
So let's just leave this on hold until next meeting, but if they have another meeting that's scheduled that Megan can't go to, please let us know, and one of us will go.
Yeah, we can decide.
Yeah.
Have someone go.
You can be alternate, Michelle.
Yeah,
That's fine.
or, Ross or whatever, I mean, let's just wait and see.
okay, but let's pick an alternate here instead of by email.
Well, if we did by
Well, it
email,
kind of depends on when
Mary
they
would have
schedule a
chance.
meeting.
and
So
Carl
one of
would
us will show up at the meeting, but it might be when Ross can't go, or it might be when I can't go, or, that's why I'm saying,
I mean, do we want to pick like a priority list right now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure that they can sub in, but I think it's just better to decide, if you're
Okay.
deciding something and appointing people, that we do it here instead of by email.
okay,
Right. I mean, the festival tree thing's obviously wound down, so that frees all of us up. Well, you and I up.
yeah.
I'm happy to stand in if we need to.
Okay, so Ross is your first choice, and then if he cannot attend the meeting, I will. If,
Megan can.
yeah. Is everybody good with that?
That's
Yep.
fine. It's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Decided.
Because we need to participate.
I'm gonna keep that going.
Okay. Calendar, there's a couple things on the calendar I have questions about. One is, February is when we usually send the letter to nurseries re the sale of invasive plants, and it's an even year, so it's time to do that. Okay. And then we have the compost giveaway Bike to Work. Is that already happening? Yes, for May. Do we give them a bag of compost when they ride by on their bike?
Two separate things.
Oh, come on.
Bike to Work Day is kind of not something we decide the date on or anything. That's kind of the regional. So we really just support Parks and Rec does most of that. I don't recall the date off the top of my head, but something is telling me maybe May 9th. And then the compost giveaway is something that Scavenger committed to continuing with us, and we've done it in May in the past couple of years, and hope to keep doing. It seemed like it was really successful. We may see if we can increase the amount. May be difficult depending on space. I think the space we had it at over here by the community garden was much better, or better received, it seemed, than the first spot, so that's a little bit space limited, but we're
Where
gonna,
was the first spot?
um,
Kind of under the
yeah,
bridge.
Oh,
you know,
right next to the fire department.
yeah.
I actually like
the
that
road
better
back
because it
in-
was
in blue.
easier to get to with your car and there was more room, but
Yeah,
it was out of the way.
yeah, it didn't go as quickly, and I know that the community garden folks were really interested in having it next to the garden, so,
Yeah, 'cause then they could
we'll
just carry it.
probably talk with
long as you can-
Scavenger and see
Back a truck up to it.
what we can do.
Okay, and then we haven't set a date for the Summer Habitat Day yet, have we? Or have we?
We have not. That would be something we would discuss, I would think, with Park and Rec commissioners at the meeting that Bob is gonna be setting up.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, at staff and commissioners.
okay. And I think everything else is, anything else on the calendar anybody has questions
Just-
about?
Just a question about the letter to nurseries. Are we sending that letter to a list over and over, or what are we doing with that?
I've only done it once, so we sent it to, we had a list that we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think last time
20-something, 30.
20 or 30 nurseries.
Okay, so it's pretty comprehensive in this area then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I dove way into it.
Yeah,
missed
I
a
remember
nursery,
Bob
I'd be
did a
su-
great job on that.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how many there were. I was like, man, there's actually a ton of these. But yeah, I'm sure we have that address list.
Okay.
And then, that's it for the calendar?
I have one, we came up with the idea of, for the report out on the vegetation management at the acres, that on the longer days of the year that we do a meeting on site and hike around a little bit and look at the work and have Mark kind of walk us
That's a
through
good
stuff.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Everybody
it.
good with that?
Let's
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
Good idea.
So are we at Chair Committee Matters? Because I do have two things. The first thing that I have is, I'd really, if anybody's out there listening, I'd really like to remind everybody that if you got a survey from DTSC, the Department of Toxicology and
Department of Toxic Substances
Substances
Control.
Control,
Yeah.
please fill it out and return it. You need to return, it's a pre-stamped envelope, and you need to return it by January 17th, that's Friday.
Yikes.
2 days from now.
So please do that. It's important for Brisbane. These are the people who will be overseeing the remediation of the Baylands, and it's very important to return the surveys. So thank you about that. And then my second one was, I think I had brought up about what's the status of Clippy Hill and the land that was supposed to be turned over to the park at once Toll Brothers was done with their building. Status on that.
Where is that?
That's above the Mission Blues Center, that whole area where the towers go over, the area that
Right,
where
this area right here.
yeah, where they didn't build because of the high tension power lines and the Clippy Butterfly, and instead built out the 71 mega mansions in the other area.
Yep.
So
We're trying to see if we remember the status.
so maybe we could find out what the status is and have a report out at the next meeting. Because by now this should have been turned over to the county, and maybe they're dragging their feet on taking it because the Toll Brothers hasn't done the restoration work that needs to get done before the county will take it. But it needs to happen.
That sounds that sounds familiar, and I just didn't know if there was something different, so.
Well, the city of Brisbane needs to push some pressure to bear on them to get the work done and get it into the public domain.
Bob will follow up.
I'll follow up.
I know Randy was on those emails, and I think he was like, what, I haven't done that yet? And I think, but I wasn't directly involved, so.
We have a
I feel like there was
responsibility
pressure
to get
applied
that
to them.
done. We have a responsibility to get that done.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for chair and committee matters?
I got a couple things.
Okay.
I think I've put this out there, but if anybody else would like to make donations for the wildlife in Australia, I've been organizing boxes of things to send, like little critter things, knit, crocheted, and sewn for animals that need to be taken in and taken care of while they recuperate from burns and other things.
Out of natural fibers only, right?
Yeah, not natural fibers only. I don't want to get too much into the details here because it's kind of complicated, but feel free to reach out to me. I finally have a venue for teaching the master class on sustainability here in Brisbane this year. That was like a 6-month-long process to try and find a place. So I'm looking forward to hearing back from Jessica at the Office of Sustainability and actually getting that moving, finally.
Where's it
I'm
going to be?
super excited about that. We're going to be upstairs here in the police training room at City Hall
Excellent.
until the library opens, which point we'll move it over there. But it was just really difficult to find a space. I couldn't believe it. I thought it would be like cakewalk.
No.
If you have
No.
flyers, you could table that at Earth Day.
Yeah, I could do that. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm just trying to get some feedback with them about when they want to put it on their calendar. And then now that I've got a space, we can get it on the calendar, and then I can start promoting it. So I'm really hoping I hear back from them soon. And then I just wanted to kind of ask Adrian and put this in a bee in your bonnet, like, what do you think our role as committee members and citizens would best be served in terms of the new building energy ordinance rollout? Like, don't answer that now, but I think we need to start thinking about how we can best use our efforts. Okay?
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Anybody else?
Speaking of Australia, did you guys see it's raining like crazy right now?
In Australia?
Yeah, huge thunderstorms.
Thank God.
The whole country damn near is, they're worried about floods, but I think, I don't know
Yeah,
if it
I'm
hit
sure
every wildfire, but like, I just saw the update early this afternoon.
Yeah.
Massive rain.
Now they're
Well, all
worried
the
about
ash has seeded
all the
clouds.
ash running into the rivers and
Yeah.
polluting the
It'll still
water
be a mess.
supplies and stuff. So it's,
Yeah.
One disaster to another, but
yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, the fires, a lot of them are out. So.
Good.
That's good. One thing, I don't know where this fits, probably should have gone back in the work plan, but I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do about the trash that's being dumped on San Bernardino Mountain that's in practically every gully. Whether we could put signs up there, whether we might even put a camera up there to try and figure out who's doing this. Because when you go up there and look over the side, the ravines are just full of trash. Multiple places. I've talked to Karen about this already, and Bob.
Oh, put that on our work plan. You know, I know we had the dumpster down by the nuisance dumpster for a long time that was down by the city courtyard. But in a lot of ways, that nuisance dumpster accumulated trash at a place where we could easily handle it and not in the habitat. And now it's back to dumping on the dark road in the middle of the night up on Guadalupe Canyon Parkway. So
I got so much good garden stuff out of that dumpster.
I know there was good stuff in that dumpster.
There was good stuff in that dumpster.
But I always wanted to stop and dumpster dive, and Dan's like, no.
Just one more thing about that. You know, a lot of the problem up there properly belongs to the county and not to us. But I wonder if there's anything we could do to push them to put signage up there or a camera trap or something to discourage dumping. Because
have a
it is a
citizen-
water issue.
Yeah, we could have a citizens campaign where somebody calls them every single day to come pick stuff up until they get sick of it and decide that they need to do something.
Part of the trouble is some of what's up there is not visible unless you get out of the car and look over the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, but we could still do that. We could still have citizen campaign.
Yep.
Somebody calls
we
them
should
every
do
day
that.
until they.
And it also needs to be investigated, like look
Mhm.
at the trash to see if there's any
Yeah.
identification as to who's dumping.
I know they've done that before, gone through the trash, found receipts with names, and gone and knocked on doors.
I was pretty shocked at how bad it was.
Really, I haven't looked for a while.
I haven't stopped and
usually-
got on my
I haven't
car.
stopped them recently.
I guess I will.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Anything else?
I'm good.
Move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd just like to just say that I really, my stepmother passed last week, and she was a very staunch environmentalist and really dealt in the nitty gritty of it. And she was a big fan of like, okay, so where do I have to put this and where do I have to put that? And I would get grilled all the time, and I would like talk trash with her the way that Teresa talks trash with us. And she was a real inspiration in our family for getting it correct. And she really worked hard at it. So just saying that in memory.
Let's close in memory of,
Okay, we're adjourned.
thank you. I'm surprised I didn't know her.
I'm too.
Yeah.
But she